Michael Morales Torres para Lucha Libre Online, la marca número 1 de Pro Wrestling y Combat Sports en el mundo. Mi invitado especial llega directamente desde Portugal, ex campeona mundial femenina en WXW, parte del roster activo de Impact Wrestling y uno de sus knockouts. Killer Kelly llega nuevamente a Lucha Libre Online. Kelly, it is a privilege for us to have you as our guest. How are you doing today?
Hi, I'm good. And you?
Everything good here in Puerto Rico. Thank you for asking. You are with Impact Wrestling. Things changed since the last time we spoke. And it's amazing because you had the opportunity to put yourself out there in a mainstream company like it's Impact Wrestling. You had the opportunity to sign in a deal. Let's go step by step. The first thing, how does it feel to be back in the wrestling industry? Because you took like a small pause in your career and now you're officially back.
Yeah, no, it feels great. I'm hungry for competition. I can't wait to be back at it like full time every single weekend. I'm just so excited to be back.
I'm really happy to see you back as well, because the pandemic basically changed plans for everyone. And one of those plans was the fact that you already signed a contract with Impact back then, but due to the pandemic and it's all, all its varieties, you couldn't, make your debut. It was until now that you had the opportunity as well to be a full part of the team. How did you manage to overcome all the struggles inside the pandemic, living in Europe and having to work in the United States?
Well, it was quite difficult. Being stuck in Portugal, not being able to do my work, and just waiting and waiting and waiting. The whole waiting around was the worst part of it. Not knowing when I was able to fly back to the States, not having my husband with me. He was here. It was quite difficult, but finally all that waiting, all those 2 years are done.
And you're officially back. You mentioned the fact that your husband and you, I believe you're living in Germany at this point, correct?
No, during the whole pandemic, I was at the start of the pandemic, I was living in Germany because I was working very regularly with WXW. But after like half a year of just being in Germany, waiting for COVID to stop, I was like, okay, I need to move back to Portugal. Somehow after I don't know how many months, I finally found a loophole and I was able to come to the United States to be with my boyfriend, which turned into my fiance. But then I had to go back to Portugal after I signed my Impact contract, and wait to finally be able to make the move. But that took 9 months until I was able to be back in the United States. And then the whole visa process and stuff like that. And I moved in August. So a year ago, and I just now was able to make my return.
This is a lot to digest in a few seconds. Like you basically squash your last 2 years in a few minutes. So thank you for that. Portugal, you had the opportunity to go back home after being out for a while. What was the thing that you missed the most about home? I mean, Superbook is a great beer. Football is, it lives there every single day of the week. Like, what's the thing you miss most about home?
Food. The food. Portuguese food is the absolute best. The best. And just being able to, like, I love Lisbon. I love my city. Just being able to walk everywhere, to have the beach within like less than half an hour. It's just beautiful. But the worst is it was COVID. So everything was locked. Everything was shut down. So I was just at home.
I mean, that's great to hear. It's not easy to be far away from home, and the fact that all your career you've sacrificed yourself, being basically living on a plane and on different hotels and everything. It's something definitely good that you had the opportunity to enjoy, at least for a while. Let's go back to Impact Wrestling. You stated in an interview that Killer Kelly signed a new contract with Impact Wrestling. It's a multi-year deal. What details can we know about this contract? Is this a 3-year deal? Is it a 2-year deal? Are you planning to stay with Impact on the long run? Like, what are you looking for with Impact Wrestling?
Let's just say that I'm planning to stay in Impact for a while.
Let's go to the Knockouts division. You were thriving competition in Europe. You were looking for competition everywhere, in the UK, in Germany, basically everywhere. And on the Knockouts division, you find, at least in my opinion, the best women's roster in the whole planet. Over there are people like Mickie James, a division commanded by Gail Kim. It's brilliant. There are incredibly talented women in that roster. How do you feel knowing that you are on a company that values women in pro wrestling?
It's very surreal to me to be in such a great part of such great women's roster. Like Impact has been for years the go-to for women's wrestling. For years, almost like the entirety of those 20 years. And it just feels amazing to be part of the company that Gail Kim wrestled, Awesome Kong, the beautiful people, Taylor Wilde. It's just it's so many emotions to be part of what I watched on television, and now sharing the locker room with legends and so many up and comers, and I'm just so excited to wrestle everyone.
If I'm not mistaken, and you can correct me on this, you already had a match with Impact back in 2020.
Yes.
I believe that was in Turning Point, and you did not obtain the victory. However, the Killer Kelly we're seeing now, it looks vicious. It looks completely different to what we've seen before. What's different between Killer Kelly in 2020 compared to what you are right now, 2 years after?
So the Killer Kelly that you guys saw in 2020 was a sneak peek of what I am. So now I'm 100% Killer Kelly. I'm 100% me. And that's what you'll see. You'll see the vicious killer, the vicious psychological person that I am.
I believe, if I'm not mistaken, the names are Tiffany Nieves and Jada Stone were two of your victims on Impact Wrestling.
Yes.
Like, are you randomly targeting every person that's on your way, or what's the game plan for Killer Kelly? What are you looking for?
That's exactly it. Like anyone that spikes my interest at that specific moment, like anyone can be a target.
And speaking about targets, the Knockouts Championship is a title that's highly valuable inside the wrestling industry. Many people have hold this coveted prize. Is the Knockouts Champion something that Killer Kelly is directly after?
Of course. I mean, what kind of competitor are you if you're not aiming to be the champion?
And on the other side, the person that has the title right now is Jordynne Grace, an extremely talented woman as well. We saw her competing as well on Ric Flair's last match pay-per-view, among many other places inside Impact Wrestling as well. Is she a person that interests you in terms of, okay, this is something I may be interested in, in terms of wrestling, pure wrestling itself, or a storyline? Like, does working with Jordynne Grace an option right now?
Of course. Jordynne Grace has been on my radar for so long. It's crazy to think that I've wrestled her only in tag team matches and fatal 4-ways and stuff like that, but never ever one-on-one, ever. And I want that. Like I need that.
Wrestling is an interesting world. The Knockouts division obviously provides you a scenario to go to the mainstream in your career, but Impact Wrestling has something interesting, that it is the fact that we've seen men or women wrestling together more than once. Intergender matches, are a common thing there. You as a competitor and a person constantly looking for competition, is wrestling males an option as well, or just, for now, completely focused on the knockouts division?
Well, my focus has to be on the knockouts division as of right now, but everyone's a target. Everyone's a target. If you mess with me, if you cross my path, you'll get it.
Perfect. So if you allow me, I'm going to say something in Spanish really quick as well. Este viernes y el sábado 12 y 13 de agosto en Chicago, Illinois, gente, el Cicero Stadium, una arena tan importante para nosotros los latinos, para los hispanos. No se lo pueden perder. Chicago, Illinois, tienen allí Emergence, que va a estar en directo desde allí el viernes 12 de agosto y inmediatamente el día después, el 13 de agosto. Allí también en Chicago van a tener los tapings de Impact. Cicero Stadium es un venue sumamente histórico para nosotros los latinos. Chicago es una ciudad llena de latinos. Killer Kelly va a estar presente. Van a haber muchas otras superestrellas presentes y usted no se los puede perder por ninguna circunstancia del mundo. Los boletos están disponibles en Eventbrite. Van a aparecer aquí a la parte de abajo. Y en adición a eso, la programación semanal de Impact está disponible todos los jueves en la noche a las 8 de la noche hora del este por Access TV y también disponible a través de la suscripción de YouTube Insiders. Shopimpact.com para mayor información en cuanto a mercancía y t-shirts y diferentes cositas que tienen como memorabilia. Y antes de irnos, vamos a irnos despidiéndonos también, pero vamos a llevarlo nuevamente al inglés. Kelly, it's been an absolute privilege to have you as our guest. Last but not least, what message can you send to all the Latin American fans that are watching you right now so they can start watching Impact Wrestling and give them an opportunity to the Knockouts division?
Oh, wow. That's always a tough question. I love my Latin community. I do love it. I actually speak a little bit of Spanish myself, or portuñol.
La mezcla.
Gracias por todo el apoyo. Sí, gracias por todo el apoyo. Por favor, me sigan en Impact. Yeah.
That's Spanish.
I'm on the spot.
And make sure to as well seguir a Killer Kelly en sus redes sociales como Kelly Wrestling directamente. Toda su mercancía también está disponible allí en sus redes sociales. Ya tiene un Linktree con toda la información de qué está haciendo. Tiene su Twitch. Ahí vemos que juega desde juegos de videojuegos de misterio o de miedo, como de todo un poco. Así que lleguen allí al canal de Twitch de ella, que está excelente, entre muchísimas otras alternativas como Cameo y Teespring para toda su mercancía. Kelly, ha sido un verdadero privilegio tenerte como nuestra invitada, augurándote mucho éxito and wishing you success in your career and in your personal life. And let's wrap this up en español. Esta fue Killer Kelly de Impact Wrestling y Michael Morales Torres para Lucha Libre Online, la marca número 1 de Pro Wrestling y Combat Sports en el mundo.